Previously. X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show.
Come on, we can do this.
Yes, we can. Welcome to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Wait for it.
Clear.
All right, let's go. I am one of your hosts, Skeltiple.
Identity confirmed. Security system is disabled.
That's good. Now that the security systems have been disabled, we can now let in my co-host, Mayette Moreau.
I've begun scanning news and police sources for the entire East Coast.
That's a good idea.
At least to the East Coast. He's on the right coast, at least.
Yep, it's true. And we have a guest with us tonight, returning, a brave guest who joined us for Wolverine Origins. So, you know.
If I recall correctly, he called it a cinematic masterpiece. I believe.
I think you may have.
I think it was
the Sandman.
I think he said it.
Sandro Luketic.
I think he said it when Wolverine Origins, Citizen Kane. And then,
Let's get him.
Thanks for having me, guys. I can honestly say that this one was much more enjoyable to do 4 viewings of than X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh yeah, right. You did like a bunch of viewings of that. Why did you? Why you said crazy madman?
Everybody else is more diligent podcasters.
He just took it so seriously, way more seriously than he needed to.
I was in bed with the flu, so I figured this can't make me feel worse.
Finish myself more. Maybe I can finish myself off here.
You're gonna watch 3 good movies and 1 bad one.
Oh, jeez.
Time is short, my friend. Use it to watch good movies, not watch Wolverine 4 times. 3 at least. I had to watch it once. I get that, but
well, thanks for joining us, Sandro, for X-Rated Evolution. And tonight we are gonna review X-Men Evolution Season 2, Episode 12, Mindbender.
So it's the Futurama X-Rated Evolution, X-Men Evolution crossover.
Yep. Written by Greg Johnson and Craig Kyle, who have been writing most of the episodes in the last little run here. So that's because I think they found their sort of go-to team. And, you know, Craig Kyle of famous Kyle and Yost fame. So he's a good team guy, good team writer. And, of course, directed by friend of the show, Stephen E. Gordon. Yep. Opening thoughts on this one, fellas?
It's all right.
I thought it was actually a very interesting episode that almost served as just a plot development episode. And then they sprinkled in a few things to kind of try and cover that flow up. But we can go into it as we go through it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a setup episode, but I think there's some very interesting stuff in it. Well worth the episode existing. So.
Yeah, I found it really interesting and like kind of less predictable in a way in its pacing and the way things unfolded in a lot of the episodes. Like I found myself just kind of like, like what's going on here? And you know, they sprinkled some stuff in with the kids, the younger team members, and I really like them. Like to see more of
yeah, that seemed like B plot filler stuff. But the other stuff, it would have been more interesting to me if they needed the younger people to fight the older team because they're mind controlled. That would have been a much more interesting story.
That would have been a lot better, but I actually think that the B plot there with the younger kids was kind of one of the tricks that they were using to separate just being a plot development episode and to actually infuse some action into it.
Yeah, that is kind of true.
If you take away the actual kids portion of it, there's very little confrontation in the episode at all. So
that was a big fight at the end. I mean, that's
big is I think a little generous.
Yeah,
but without
average at best,
without that seemingly pointless B plot, you really wouldn't have anything to just kind of give you that action injection in between just plot development. So, you know, there's a little bit to it for sure.
Yeah,
and that's how they always sprinkle in those characters. Like they've never had anything to do with anything. They just sprinkle a scene or two of them in every now and then.
But they could have had just more and more. Like they could have been plotted in such a way that what the mind controlled X-Men were up to could have been more action heavy. It didn't have to be them just floating around doing stuff. They could have been more fighting.
Jean and Nightcrawler had a vicious staring contest.
That's true. It was vicious. It's a lot of lingering mind controlled stares.
Yeah, there really was. I don't know. I just found this episode kind of creepy.
Yeah, so did I. I was definitely leaning more towards the horror element, which is cool.
I mean, it starts off like this.
That is true.
Yeah. If you're not a fan of clowns, you're going to turn this one off almost immediately.
It's true, because this just goes on and on for like well over a minute. I'm like, wow, they're really pushing this.
Just a solid minute of laughing clowns.
Yeah. But it worked, you know.
Yeah.
These things always happen to Jean.
Yes,
I think they try to mind control like people who don't already have mind control powers. It's like, maybe I should try to mind control, you know, maybe Beast. Why not?
I mean, it worked well for him for quite a while. Like, he would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling Xaviers.
Oh man, way out of his league. Mesmero stepping up to Xavier. It's like,
but I mean, he obviously could. He had no problem controlling Jean. She's obviously a powerful telekinetic. So,
yeah, but they have her erase like that bully's memory in like a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but he literally had her robbing banks. Like he you know, he could control her. No problem.
Oh yeah. I'm just saying. I don't think they haven't shown Jean's telepathy to be particularly powerful in this show.
Yeah,
they
keep
show her
that
TK more.
Yeah, this is a high school version of her,
Yeah.
and I think that it is perfectly adequate to see moments of weakness where she hasn't quite discovered the power of her abilities like to their full extent, for sure.
Because she'll get there, I'm sure. Like, superpowered Jean's probably coming. See, André and I haven't seen this show all the way through. So.
I don't think we don't get Phoenix in the show, do we?
No, I don't think so.
So there you go.
Well, Sandro's not going to spoil it for us. Maybe we do. Look at that. No, I didn't think. Well, they didn't want to follow that. I mean, TAS did it perfectly, and this show starts only a couple years.
Well, I mean, this show would be really odd to have the Corsair and the Lilandra and the Cher running around in this show. It seemed very out of place because it seems much more rooted in reality and certainly not going too far outside of not reality, but I guess like they stick pretty close to so far anyway, to the teenagers in high school story. And throwing in like bird space aliens and, you know, Mohawk purple Superman and all that other stuff would definitely screw the sort of adhering more to like the vibe of the movies like the series does than the fun, like crazy comic bookness of the 97 series.
Well, they do series. Branch out more.
Well, the end of this episode implies something, but that even is probably dealt with in a more serious manner than, you know, I am the rocks crash on the rocks of Oblivion. Yeah, that's right. Like, perhaps. I mean, I guess that's a spoiler, but I'm assuming you've watched it. If you've never experienced X-Men Evolution, and your first experience is listening to us talk on this about it, then you're doing it wrong, sir or madam. Go or whatever, or non-binary beauty. Just go watch the show, and then come back and listen to us ramble on. My friend sent me. I guess I never thought about it this way, but my friend sent me this terrible Bruce Willis movie from the 90s called The Color of Night, which Sandro, since you have a podcast watching bad old movies, you may have broached at some point. Speaking of which, I see you guys are back, so I'm excited to get into that once I catch up on the other podcasts I'm behind on. But you guys are next.
Yeah, it was quite the hiatus.
So, Color of Night, Bruce Willis, the most unsurprising surprise in the history of cinema. But when my friend who has the movie and showed it to me sent me like a YouTube video of a show like this, in which people talked about this movie for an hour, and I'm like, I'm not watching this hour-long video about people talking about a movie I didn't like. I could watch half of another movie I might like in this amount of time, but here I am spending hours on this show doing the same thing. So, you know, obviously there's people out there that enjoy it. Hey, but man, I'm not watching A Color of Night.
I'll do my best to avoid spoilers, but I have watched through this series twice. Mm-hmm. And
did you do it the last week?
No. I watched this episode 4 times. That's not a coincidence.
Wow, that is a lot. Do you watch the movies for your other podcast 4 times?
No, twice, just because of time.
Mm.
With one every week, I can't dedicate that amount of time to that consistently.
Yeah.
But in regards to this show, like, I very much do like it as it progresses, because while they are still high school kids, they do get into the more world-threatening issues. So once they kind of steer away from Saved by the Bell, the X-Men class, it starts to really pick up and get into more what I would find enjoyable, a little bit more akin to, the animated series, where it's not just that, disjointed weekly episodes of whatever high school angst they got, and they actually get into overarching world-saving problems. But you have to take it separate canonically, because, different ages, different locations. It is very much its own thing. So it gets better.
But like, there's been 30 episodes of the show before we get to season 3. like that's a long time to be like, where for the show to hit its stride.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's sort of getting there into that stride. There's been some pretty good episodes lately, like Walk on the Wild
episodes. Yes, but it took 15. No, it took 20 something before we've gotten to this.
That's fair.
So like, that's a lot of show. That's like saying watch like old season, like back in the old days where a season of a show was 24 seasons or 24 episodes. I could maybe see that, but now it's like, this is 2 seasons. It's a lot.
It wasn't awful leading up to it.
No, it hasn't been awful. It just really seems like, I don't know, a lot slower paced.
I wasn't meaning to suggest that it wasn't good. Those first 30 episodes are more just kind of have fun with these individual episodes. Maybe there's some overarching ideas with like relationships and personalities, but you don't get the same investment as you do later on, when it actually starts to become like a much more connected, overarching storyline that you can invest in from beyond just like, oh, hey, do these people like these people? Do these people want to hang out with these ones? Who's dating who? It does.
Duncan.
Yeah.
Who's Duncan?
Duncan.
Yeah. Cyclops calls Duncan in this episode.
He does.
And Taryn.
He has his number, and Taryn.
And he never tells anyone who he is. He's always just like, hey, have you seen Gene? Or he's just like, hey.
You know who he didn't? Rizzy or Ritzy or the hell her goddamn name is.
No, he doesn't have Ritzy's number. Mitzi? It's Mystique, the student Mystique's pretending to be. Yeah, Risty,
that's it, Risty. Stupid ass name.
The most normal incognito.
Yeah,
name
so many people have the name Risty out there, short for Ristelia, Ristophilia.
Risty Mystique is her name.
Yes.
Let's get into the episode.
Incognito.
I am Guy Incognito.
All right, well, we see Creepy Carnival. Dean wandered through it. Lots of disturbing clowns. You just got that on standby, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's featuring lots of creepy clowns. And if when I say clowns, you're going to do that, I say clowns a whole lot more.
Yeah, I might.
Did you hear about that new movie coming out? Clown in a Cornfield?
Haven't heard of it.
Oh,
have you?
What a dumb setup. Of course I've heard of it. I told you about it just now.
I was talking to Sandro.
Oh, okay.
No, never heard of this.
It's like I think it's like a horror YA novel, but that they're making into a movie. So there's 2 or 3 of them, so I guess they're popular enough. Anyway,
well, there is since it's not going to be my comic pick, there is a time when the X-Men do fight a clown. There is an Obnoxio the Clown versus the X-Men comic.
I was a fan of John Burns. There's like a series of there's like a clown character in that's what it was in Slapstick, in the Slapstick comic from the 90s, when like the guy that kind of walks him through how his powers work is like Groucho Marx. He kind of looks like him because he like appears as something he's familiar with, which is pretty funny.
Is it Obnoxio the Clown?
No, I believe it's Groucho Marx, but it's still cool. And clowns are cool. That's great. Sure. You know what the first instance of a scary killer clown was in media, in popular culture? When clowns started becoming scary instead of just being.
Was it?
It was it. Stephen King is to blame for creepy clowns. Seems apropos.
Makes sense. I blame most things on Stephen King.
So we see Gene.
And I always will. You hear that, Stephen? Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely listening.
He's like, what did I do? I'm sorry.
Leave me alone. He's like, Davin, stop shitting on me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm very sensitive multimillionaire.
Yeah.
Actually, last I heard his net worth is like $500 million, so he's doing all right.
It's not bad, eh?
No, for a writer, it isn't. That's for sure.
No. Here's Obnoxio the Clown versus the X-Men, if anyone wants to check it out. Obnoxio the Clown was created by Larry Hama in remember that old
What
Mad
a great
magazine
cover!
style
What a great
magazine?
cover! I
Yeah,
love this
right?
cover.
Like Marvel did that Mad ripoff sort of thing.
Oh yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I think it might have been in that.
I had a whole
In one of
episode
those-
with two guys that did a book about that thing on my other podcast.
Obnoxio versus the X-Men, but there you have it. Check it out, everybody. Back to the episode. What are we looking at here?
We're
This
looking
is
at
going to be
Jean
Jean waking up from
Jean
her
waking
dream.
up from her dream,
That was the top of her head.
which is actually in another dream, in which she encounters a. This is a dream within a dream, isn't it? Or is this just a lady?
No, she's awake now.
Okay. Yes, that's right. Then when she awakens, shivering. I had a dream within a dream one time. I didn't think that happened. I thought it was only something in movies, but it happened to me once, and it was terrifying.
You inceptioned?
Yeah, I had a dream. I was living in my old apartment. It was a basement apartment. I lived alone. I was single at the time. I had a dream that bikers were chasing me through a field, like scary bikers, through a field near my parents' house. And somehow I had an airplane hangar in it. And I ran into the hangar, and I was hiding under an airplane. And I could see their feet coming. And then I woke up, and I was in my bedroom. And as I was sitting up in my bed, over the shock of the dream, the door to my bedroom kicked open, and the bikers from the first dream came in through the door. And then I screamed, and then I really woke up. And I swear to God, I thought that didn't happen in real life, but it happened to me once, and it scared the holy hell out of me. So
What did you do to the bikers? You left.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe don't walk into biker bars and start mouthing off at bikers.
Well, that's not. I don't think I would do that. This seems like a character trait that's high in my one of my character traits.
He gets it all out in his dreams because he doesn't want to do. He wants to do something like that in real life, but he just hasn't been able to accomplish that yet.
I've always had a dream of grabbing a cop's gun. Can I do that in real life? Is that
No.
No, I don't like
Wouldn't
that.
recommend it.
Next week, you find out Andre's been killed by a police officer.
You just give it back. You're like, just jokes.
Yeah, I was just kidding. I just always wanted to do it. I don't want to do anything with it. I just want to have it for a second. It's like a dog chasing a car. We don't have to do it if I caught it. So anyway, she wakes up, discovers she's floating above the bed from her nightmare. She goes to her knees and shivers, but then the jackal box beside her nightstand begins to turn and play music by itself. She lifts the box, puts it on her lap, and then a tattooed face pops out. And Jean screams. Next minute, all the instruments. Of course, Cyclops goes looking for her. She's not there.
So what was that dream then?
Probably the start of her inception of her mind being invaded by Dinkeldorf.
Right, because it's probably not worth thinking about too much, even though it takes up 2 minutes of a 21-minute runtime.
Yeah.
But when she wakes up, she's clearly still in control of herself. So, I would understand if this was what she's kind of visualizing while she's under the spell the whole time, but then she shouldn't have come to. I guess they just wanted to add these scenes of very scary looking clowns to scare children watching this on Saturday morning.
I guess so, yeah. It seemed that way.
He's just not controlling her actively at all times, and maybe just being more like a passive bystander or something. Who knows?
Weakening her mental state so that she's more vulnerable to the mind control.
Yeah, it could be.
Or waiting for the perfect time to make his move or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, it seemed like unnecessary unless he just likes torturing people. Which
Don't
also
kink
possible.
shame him.
He probably does, yeah.
Don't kink shame him.
That's true. Mesmero gets off on giving teenage girls scary dreams.
I just love scaring people with clowns.
It's just my thing. So the X-Men are searching.
Don't shame me.
and Xavier and Scott. This is always like that. Every time Just Because Logic shows up, I always find it funny. When they're like, Xavier finds the Jack in the Box and wonders what it is, and they're like, oh, yeah, she won that at a carnival last week. And it's like, what teenage girl wins a fucking Jack in the Box and just keeps it on her bedside table, mind you? And it's like, God, this is the greatest keepsake of all time.
Duncan threw several balls at the bottles to win.
So they said she won the carnival, but anyway.
She's got mutant powers. I don't think she'd have trouble winning these games.
Yeah.
It's true.
Beast comes in and says there's no sign of Jean. Then we see him searching the news for Jean. Xavier can actually find anything. He says that Cerebro can't pick up any trace for her as well because he asks. They still have no trouble doing that. Scott drives around town in his convertible, calling all of Jean's friends, which is dangerous, Scott. You don't drive while on the phone. Look at him on the phone while driving.
They didn't know back in the early.
They didn't know. They didn't know until Scott plowed through a red light and killed 6 people that he shouldn't be on the phone.
I was about to say this is an anchoring moment, and you go into talking about murdering 6 people.
You could have.
But I just like this part with Scott because it reminds us that they are teenagers, which I often lose sight of watching this show.
Yeah.
But he's calling like the ex-boyfriend, or I don't know if they're still dating.
They're still dating at this time.
Okay,
they haven't broken up yet. Anyway.
Oh, he's calling the boyfriend. He's calling the former best friend, current best friend. I can't remember where in the timeline this is, but we have to remember that, like, yeah, she is a teenager. She could have just taken off, right? Like, it's not necessarily mind control at this point. There are avenues that they might be looking at, just that a kid might have, snuck out to go have a party or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they just like look at 2 different things, and Xavier's just like, well, there's only one possible solution then, or one possible outcome. Jean disappeared in the middle of the night. Mysteriously. Like, what?
Teenagers don't do that.
Yeah.
So we see the rest of the ex-kids searching Bayview for Bayville.
But for reasons I'll discuss in my X points also, Xavier does not understand young people.
No,
I
he's
don't
not
think he ever
supposed to.
was a young person. I think he was born a bald 40-something, 50-something ambiguous.
I think it's a Benjamin Button situation.
Middle-aged.
I think he started old. He's going backwards.
Yeah, maybe.
That's why he seems younger. Mysterio, and Magneto was like 90, and then went through the Operation Rebirth to be young again. Yeah, I'm looking at all these.
Sandra Nova
CD
looked
covers?
old, and in the movie looked young.
Yeah, all these CDs here.
Yeah, you paused it at the perfect time. I was trying to see what they had going on there too.
Yes, I think they're all made up.
Fort.
Yeah, Fantafort, possibly the soundtrack to Jackie Brown. That's kind of what this looks like. Which would have been around the time.
One just says March.
Yes, Tibelius, Elgar, whatever this guy's deal is. I like 50s movies themes, and yeah, a lot of. But anyway, then there's the Brotherhood of
All the
Bayview.
hits.
Yeah, this is the boarding house, what they call the house that they're all stuck in. I didn't know they gave a name to it before. It has a sign up front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why do they call it the Brotherhood? There are girls living there too, you jerks. Anyway,
True.
Kitty
But
goes
there.
there.
Wasn't when they put the sign up.
See if they kidnap Jean. They get offended that she would assume that, and then she tells him, "Well, it's not like you didn't try it before," which I thought was really funny.
That was pretty funny.
What is Nightcrawler doing? Like,
I don't know.
You see Spike come out of the police department. Kitty goes to the Brotherhood. Scott's calling people.
He's checking.
Nightcrawler just checks an empty football field.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you don't need to look that closely to see there ain't no one there.
Just goes to the middle of an empty arena. Jean, are you here, Jean?
Yeah, Jean. Every empty room in the house. Jean.
And he teleports onto the goalpost to get a better view of nothing.
Well, maybe she was in somewhere that he can only see from above. Maybe she was, who knows. So we see Sam, Bobby, Ray, Jubilee head out of the danger room. They ask they should be searching for Jean. They say this is their only chance to get in the danger room without an instructor around to test out their powers. Jamie,
I still don't know what the deal is with this Berserker character.
He's got anime hair. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Look at that anime hair. Look at it. You know how much dippity do you need to keep that gel up there? It's a lot.
None. That's his
powers. Keep his hair slick. My good power is intense anime hair.
That's wild hair you got there. They call me Berserker.
Yeah, because of kind of my berserking hair. So it's nothing to do with anything else. Jamie comes running, try to catch up. They tell him to go behind because he's too young. He's like the little brother that's trying to play with the older kids. He also has a funny bit where he trips and then he multiplies into multiple versions of himself when he hits the floor. And that
is how it works.
They just referred to him as
on his own toe when he wants to.
I don't like they just referred to him as multiple, I guess, because he's not a man yet. So don't refer to him
Should have been multiple
man.
lad.
Multiple, yeah. That sounds very Legion of Superheroes. Anything lad is very Legion of Superheroes. Like I think Matter Eater lad, Lightning Lass. It's a lot of lads and lasses there. What 90s actor do you think would have played this character in a live action X-Men movie? 90s or early 2000s actor.
It would have been what's his name? Matthew Lillard.
No, he's Shaggy. Come on, he's too skinny for this. I
I
would say, I see this as Devin Sawa.
Oh, I can see it.
He even kind of looks like him in this picture.
I can see it.
The guy from Idle
All right,
Hands, and he was live action Casper. And Casper.
Don't do that to Devin. Don't give him this character.
Devin Sawa, come back. You need it. You got to play old Berserker in 50-year-old Berserker. 50-year-old Berserker in Avengers Doomsday. When the X-Men are there, we cram you in there. You're in the back. You're part of it. Devin Sawa.
People our age be like, "Is that Devin Sawa?" And young people can be like, "What are you?" Who?
I watched a horror movie with him and Bruce Campbell called Black Friday from a few years ago recently. He's still out there doing stuff.
I watched that movie not that long ago.
It was all right. Yeah, it was all right.
It was a decent time. It was like an hour and 15 minutes, so it wasn't. Like
it was not a long movie. So anyway, they think it's their chance to get. He's mad they're leaving him out, but they want to train without him, so he walks off. You see, Logan discovers that Jean was at the train station. She bought a ticket to Boston. She went to Boston
at 4 a.m.
You bought a ticket to ride.
Cerebro's able to detect her in Boston now. Like, why couldn't Cerebro detect her anywhere, but they just had to focus in on Boston?
Well, because he said
she's using her powers there.
She's using her powers. Yeah.
So she appears to be possessed. She breaks into a museum and steals a ring from one of the display cases. She drops a small cloth bag and leaves. The two police show up, stop her. She waves her hand nonchalantly. The cars go flying into a tree and went to a fountain. Back at the Institute, Scott's ready to head out to Boston to get her. Xavier stops him since she's already left. They detect a slight trace of her powers near the train tracks. They have to wait until she uses her powers again to find her. Scott is hopeless. So the kids in the danger room are having trouble. Bobby gets in and changes the machine to make it tougher on them, so they have a really rough time getting through the danger room. Get all messed up through all its various stuff. When they get out,
many X points about all this. But anyway, continue.
I was like, Bobby gets them to work together. Sorry, it's not Bobby. It's
it's Bobby.
No, it's multiple
Bobby's multiple. Bobby's
multiple lad.
Iceman.
Multiple lad. Jamie. That's it.
Yeah,
Jamie. So Jamie gets a hold of the controls and puts them all through hell. So they get
out
out
for like child pranks or like teenage pranks to get back at them for not including you, but like, what's the negative outcome here? You murder them in the danger room?
I showed you guys, huh?
Yeah, they're all dead. He's like, I showed that. You have just blood just to see like it's like
it wasn't me, it was my dupe.
They had difficulty with the program that they had it on, so he upped it to just show them.
So they go to get him, but they're too beat up, and they say they'll get him tomorrow because they're having, they're all sore from what happened. Next morning,
he's just gonna keep sacrificing dupes.
Yeah, it just keeps killing him.
Like no, it's like they just keep coming back beat up by Berserker.
Jean shows back up in the middle of the night, comes in, walks past Scott's bedroom, rushes out to greet her, but she turns at him, attacking him with a mental attack.
Does he have a bunch of writing behind his bed on his headboard? Is that like writing? Does he just sit there and scribble like what is it? Or just the style of the headboard?
Team? I think it says something team. Yeah. So she puts him back in his bed, then goes and kidnaps Nightcrawler. But as Kurt wakes up when she comes in his room, and then there's like a low humming sound, which is her, and he has the same look as her. Next morning, Scott pounds on Xavier's door, tell him that Jean was there and the Kurt's now missing. Computer room, Kitty and Beast are busy hacking away at the computers.
They had a great staring contest.
They did. Kitty tells them that she's found a match on her scan. They've been spotted on airport surveillance cameras.
Civil War? 157, 158.
Oh, look at that.
Patriotic Front, Army Parachute Corporal.
What does that have to do with finding Gene? Come on,
I think-
Beast.
Yeah, come on, Beast. Stay focused. Wonder if it shows exactly what he was doing.
He's playing
He's
like
just-
a text-based RPG.
he's
like
just-
one of the...
He's just helping her do. Yeah, you're right. It's just they probably just
carrying
caught
equipment.
armor system ground.
I'm going to give him the
Located,
benefit of the doubt and say that's
American
inventory from the
rifles.
museum that he's trying to discover what she might be after.
Oh, that's probably true.
That's
That is probably true.
that's best I can do to think of something that makes sense.
Sandro to the rescue.
I like that he was playing a text-based RPG because it's
Yes.
like Dr. Octopus in the new Spider-Man character. It's like, are you playing that game again, Beast? It's like, no. Oh, yes, I was
Yeah.
just...
If anybody
firing
can multitask, it's Beast. He's got this.
Yeah, exactly.
He's playing like Oregon Trail, but Civil War.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the
He's
sequel.
playing Civil War, Oregon Trail.
So we see Nightcrawler and Jean, who are possessed now, break into a bank, get another ring out of one of the boxes in the bank. So Logan and Scott arrive, and Scott blasts his way into the vault, but Jean uses her telekinesis to knock them out.
I
Back
like
to
the
clear
design of
across the room.
Cerebro helmet in this. It's a little sleeker. Makes him look kind of less like a bubblehead. Looks more like he's got like a gaming kind of headphones on with his microphone.
They manage to, she gets away before they can stop them. So back at the Institute, they're able to figure out what the rings. Turns out they're Tibetan artifacts from the early Han dynasty, but they're all 3 rings altogether. So they've asked them to find location of the 3rd ring. Meanwhile, the X-Jet lands in the front lawn. Jean takes control of Spike and Kitty. So I like how she doesn't take them all at once. She just comes back when she needs more.
Yeah, let's do some forward thinking and just
just get them all at once. If you could do that from the beginning, why didn't you just do it all at once?
You're just risking getting caught. Show up and Xavier will realize you're there. Whatever.
Yeah, well, Xavier tries to read Jean's mind when she's there, and he sees this tattooed face. When he's looking at trying to look it up on the screen to get a tattoo or an image of it, Rogue tells him that she knows who that is. He's from the Jack in the Box that that Jean had, and that he's Mesmero, which was from the Circus of Mystery they all went to. And Beast busts in to tell them all that the last ring is at the Museum of Eastern Antiquities. Antiquities we don't get to say very often. At the museum, the guards try to stop the X-Kids, but Spike pins them to the wall. There's a big fight, basically, between the X-Men and the non-controlled X-Men and the controlled X-Men. But the guards try to stop them. The X-Men work really well together to get through the display case and get into the second ring, so get off on their way. So Beast, Xavier, and Rogue fly to New York City to pick up Scott and Logan, and then they head off to the Circus of Mystery. When they get there, they discover Mesmero, who's behind all of this. And there's a big fight that happens between the non-controlled X-Men and the controlled X-Men.
Yes.
Like, if he's so good at controlling 4 at once, why can't he just control all of them? I don't understand.
Again with the big. It's not very big.
It's a big knockdown Civil War film style fight between 2 warring groups of heroes.
Because Mesmero's powers are, well, I'm going to talk about that in the X points too. We're going to talk about Mesmero.
That's comic canon, not movie show canon. You have to establish rules.
Quibble with me about comics and
you have to. Well, you can't assume the audience knows what Mesmero's power level is going into.
I assume nothing. I'm informing the audience right now. That's why they watch the show and then they come here.
But it's like it's key information that would make sense of a situation that doesn't. And if you don't provide it, it's just not good. Anyway, it's a big fight. I like he has a fucking adamantium skeleton and she kicks him in the shin and he's like, ow!
It should hurt her foot.
So yeah, it should break her foot. It shouldn't hurt Wolverine.
I mean, Wolverine and like Scott get thrown out of the tent or whatever. Like Wolverine's just as hurt as Scott and takes just as long to get back up. I'm like, come on, Wolverine.
Yeah, well, basically, Mesmero tries to get into Xavier's head. They have a mental battle. But Xavier wins because he's Xavier. They become uncontrolled by what's going on, and Rogue tries to use some of the power she siphoned to move the tent and find Mesmer, but he's gone. And they don't know what he wants the rings for. But then we find out what he did. He's using them. He says the first door has been opened. So anyway. So in the Tibet, Mesmer sneaks into a hidden temple in the mountains. He reaches into a pillar, pulls out a golden rod. He slides the 3 rings he's gotten. The X-Men helped him get. In the rod to create a key. The main wall of the temple, there's a huge stone door. He used the key to open the door. Bright light splits out the door in 2 and it starts to slide open. Mesmer's blinded as more light comes in. When it stops, he looks out. The door is open all the way to reveal another huge stone, second door with the spider carved on the front. Mesmer says, I've done as commanded. Yeah, that does look more like a scarab. Would make more sense since it's Egyptian and all that. I await your instructions on the location of the other 2 keys. Then a noise is on, and then you don't really hear. We just hear like a humming, which is speaking to him. And he says, "Understood. I will find them." And the world will once again tremble before the presence of apocalypse.
Or it was a spider, and like Spider-Man just jumps out from it. Like, hey, Mesmer, thanks for
getting me these
controlling that young redhead for me. I've been trying to mind control a redhead for years, and I haven't had any success.
Bro. Thanks, buddy.
We clarified it's not Spider-Man, it's Scarab Man.
Scarab Man, right.
The best of all X-Men.
Peter, is that you?
Scarab Man. It's Scarab Man.
Yeah, it's me, Scarab Man. Yeah. Your friendly neighborhood Scarab Man.
Here comes the Scarab Man.
How should we proceed, sir? By making a call.
Is that actually, did you add that, or is that actually how that went down in the episode? The music came like that right after he's making a call? Because that sounds, I can't, you must have edited that. There's no way it's the actual. Okay. There's no
yeah, it is kind of comedic for like that to actually be
ridiculous.
It was a big call.
I guess so.
Well, let's make a call here, fellas. You first, Sandro. What would you give this episode from 1 to X?
I'm torn on this one. I'd say probably lean more towards a 6. Understand the importance of the episode in regards to furthering the plot, but in regards to like pacing, what you expect in regards to like action and just kind of X-Men interactions with each other, it is a little lacking. Yeah, I'd stick to about a 6.
Would you say that you were all out of faith and this is how you feel? Cold and ashamed? Lying naked on the floor?
100% exact words.
Illusion never changed into something real? You're wide awake.
Get out of my mind.
And now you see the perfect sky is torn. You're a little late. You're already torn. Would you say that is all accurate?
Yes, Natalie, that is accurate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel.
I'm wide awake and I can see the perfect sky is torn. Come on, we're there. What would I give this? I think I'd be more generous than Sandra was, which is odd for me. But I give it an 8. Solid episode.
I'm gonna meet you there.
Interesting enough. You know, like I guess trying to base it on. I'm trying to base when I do these on everything else that has come before it. You know, in relation to it. Davin's scale is a little skewed in my opinion, but in relation to everything else, well, because you're like X-Men 97 is the best thing ever. They're all nothing ever will be better.
No, well, season 2 will be better.
Yeah, well, there you go. But then, but you've rated an X for every 1 and 1, so even if they are better, there's nowhere to go. We're at X.
They have to maintain it.
Okay, that's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'll go with an 8. It's solid 8.
Over at, if it makes you feel any better, over on the Mary Mater Marvel Society,
it does not.
The entirety of X-Men 97 a 14 out of 10.
That infuriates me even more.
Oh,
I'd like to just expand on my rating a little bit. Keep in mind,
Sure.
I've seen the show before.
That is true. He knows.
I'm viewing this through hindsight and nostalgia.
You're not offending us if you by sticking to 6. It's all good.
Well, I just think that it might be a higher one if you don't know what comes after, because you're led a little bit more by the intrigue of what happens in this episode.
Yes.
I know where it was going. So for me, it was just, okay, like I'm just moving to a plot I already know exists without much action.
Yeah,
So-
good point. Good point.
Maybe on
Yeah,
first
that's a good
viewing, I
point.
might have been a little bit more generous.
In first viewing, I just liked kind of the creepy stuff, the creepy clown stuff. I mean, it's always interesting to see a new villain in this show because you don't get them very often, at least up to
And
this
what
point.
a one to bring in.
Hey, I like Mesmero fine, and we're going to talk about Mesmero here in a minute. You know what?
Do we have to talk about Mesmero?
Maybe I'll want to talk about Mesmero in all my X points. So, how about that?
Well, if you only have one and you talk about him, then yes, in all of them.
I mean, why do they call the episode Mindbender? There is a Mindbender Marvel villain in the Marvel universe. That's not this guy. Why do they call him?
Mesmero.
No, it's not. No.
Maybe they're talking about Apocalypse.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe they just thought it was a cute, like, Easter egg.
There's no point.
No, there's 10. These are our evolved X points.
Wait, did you even give it a rating?
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
no, he said he's going to meet me at 8.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yep. I liked it. It kept me interested.
He wasn't as torn as you.
No.
He could see the perfect guy was torn.
But I was still out of faith.
But you're a little late.
It'd be the third time you guys run through these lyrics.
I think we could do. I just did the chorus. So I think we could do the whole. I actually play a pretty mean acoustic version of that. So if you want me to test that, my computer's in another room now. But if you want me to get that, we can just bust that out for the rest of the show. Little sing along, boys. What do you think? Okay.
Pass.
Who's starting this thing? Oh, you're muted, Devin.
Yeah, you're muted.
Or there's something wrong with your audio.
I'm back. All right. Can you guys still hear? Can you guys hear this?
Yeah, that was cake. We rule.
What are you talking about? I'm
Yes.
totally chafed.
Is that real slang? Was that real slang by teenagers?
I don't think. I highly doubt that.
Because I heard it, I'm just like, what?
I was a teenager.
Did I miss that?
I was a teenager in the year 2002, and I'm pretty sure I didn't say any of those words.
Yeah, I was too. I chafed.
Chafed? No, that's definitely like an old English word. It's like chuffed.
I'll be honest. I watched the episode 4 times. I couldn't even make it.
Unless you're actually chafed. Unless you're actually chafed, like your legs are chafed from pants
so
are too tight or a waist or
chafed
something.
betwixt my pants.
Yeah. I doth find myself betwixt. Verily, I am vexed.
Very.
I believe I have a case of the vapors.
Yes. Whew. All right. Well, over to you, Andre.
Over to me. Did you say your first one, or you start with me?
That was it. Asking you guys if that was real slang.
Oh, okay. Okay, I have a bunch of stuff, but one of them is Scott's convertible has no license plate. You need a license plate, you're going to get a ticket, and especially if you're trying to drive around and be like inconspicuous.
Well, he speeds a lot, so he doesn't want a license plate because he just speeds away from the cops, and they never catch up to him.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. Do you want to be the cop that tries to give Cyclops a ticket?
Well, you don't know he's Cyclops. You just think he's a teenager with no license plate in his convertible. Also, how did a teenager afford a convertible?
Oh, well,
Several of them. They trashed his
Several. They've
convertibles
trashed it
quite
several
regularly.
times.
The
What is
sign
the
is right
convertible-
there.
What is the convertible budget in this place?
You're gonna get a Corsair in this series, but he's just gonna be like this rich dilettante. Like he's not a spaceman. He's just
thought it was
super
gonna be
rich,
like a
so he doesn't
hairdryer.
want to spend time with his kid, but buys him cars.
It's probably accurate.
Yeah.
I so don't want to spend time with my kid. I'm going to go to space.
It's the farthest I can get away from
Get
old
away from
Scotty.
Old Scotty boy over there.
I already sent Alex off to Hawaii. All right, Sandro, do you get an X point for us?
I was trying. I was really paying attention to as much as I could, even like pausing it on the keys to see if there was some sort of like little Easter egg on them. And I couldn't find very much. I got like one thing I wanted to bring up, and it was just when they go to the bank for the lock boxes, Cyclops says, Wolverine says they're in the vault. And Cyclops says, yeah, I got the combination right here, and blast the door down, which I thought was possibly like a bit of a throwback to the animated series when Wolverine had the lock pick right here. There was an episode where they were doing infiltration, and he used his claws to break in. But it was just now with Cyclops saying it to Wolverine, I thought that was maybe a bit of like clever writing to throw back to that. But that's all I could get. That was all I could get.
There was also cool in that same scene where like you don't see it very often. You think you'd see that imagery more often, where it's like Wolverine slashes the X and then Cyclops shoots it and it lights it up red before it blows the door. Like it just
that was
really cool.
that was pretty cool.
It's like, oh, these two are a fun team. It's like,
if only they could work together more often. I guess in this world they're not fighting. This world they're not fighting over Jean Grey, so maybe they will work together more often.
All right, let's talk about Mesmero, shall we?
I'd rather not.
So sometimes he's green.
Yeah, why isn't he green? I like him better than green.
Like they show him in some comics later on where he's more based off this design, where I suspect
he looks like an Aborigine. He looks like a New Zealand Maori or Maori. Maori?
Because
Maori?
of the tattoos.
Maori,
right?
yeah.
It's Maori.
Maori, yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, Mesmero. So the most interesting Mesmero story, at least that I've read, was in a run of a Weapon X comic where it's just kind of sad. Like a lot of different mutants are being used by this director of the Weapon X program, and it's like Aurora's there, and Mesmero, and this water guy, and Sabretooth. Well, it starts off with them just hunting down Sabretooth to bring him back into the program. And like, who else is on that team?
Do you ever notice Sabretooth is a ruthless madman unless someone needs to capture him for some kind of program, and then they catch him really easily? Like, why can't they catch him and put him in jail? Like, why do they always have to catch him for some weird experiment or bring him back to the Weapon X program?
He's useful. He has a certain skill set.
I love your recollection where you name all the characters and then just poor water guy.
Well, you know what? I forget what they call him, but he was never in any comic before this.
Hydro Man.
No, he's not Hydro Man.
H2O.
I forget what they call this water
H2O.
He sort of just falls apart into water.
H2 no. Is he Senator Kelly from X-Men 1?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Oh.
But yeah, water guy. But anyway, Mesmero. So Mesmero is being controlled by the director. And before this comic book, he could only control one person at a time. So that's why I wanted to mention that scene where he doesn't control everybody. That was never Mesmero's skill set. And this comic came out after this episode, where they upped Mesmero's powers in the Weapon X program, so he could control like a few people. Still nuts. He could control like a handful of people at once, and that was like a big upgrade for him. And then it's kind of like they make everyone's story so sad in that book. I think I sold it just because it was sad. But like, so Mesmero's trying to mind control. Mesmero's trying to mind control his own mother because she's dying.
That's a nice
but then he realizes she's seeing through his illusions. So then like it's all sad, and like then because of that he starts doubting himself, and then he doesn't have any powers because he starts doubting his powers. He's like, if my sick mom could see through my upgraded powers, then I'm useless to the program, and like it's a whole thing. But yeah, Mesmero. That's the most interesting he ever was.
Oh, maybe we cracked why Jean had to go back multiple times. Maybe Mesmero could only control her, and he was learning to control the other ones through her. So he was still only controlling one person
with her powers,
using her as the catalyst to control the other ones, and that's why they had to keep going back and not recruit them all at once. Although maybe I'm giving the show way too much credit, but
no, I think that's right on point. Actually,
I think one of my favorite points.
They don't have to explain everything. It's nice that you can just kind of figure this stuff out after the fact. I find sometimes. Anyway, what are you saying? Back to you, or is he back to you, Andre? Yeah, it is. I was just talking about Mesmero.
Well, I'll make a point about Mesmero as well, then, since we're talking about Mesmero.
Oh, Mesmero. All he ever wants to talk about is Mesmero.
I do. Mesmero was picked as some kind of South American Air Force who had been tailing Magneto's flight. So I'm talking about this because I'm reading some of his bio about when he was in Spider-Man. He had a show where he was in America using his talents on Broadway, and Peter Parker was in the audience. Do you remember this comic? It was like way back when. Oh, really? It was sort of like I'll read the little synopsis. Mesmer was picked up by some kind of South American Air Force who had been tailing Magneto's flight and made his way back to America, taking his talents to the stage on Broadway. During one such show, Peter Parker happened to be in the audience when the curtain caught fire and put out with his webbing. Realizing that Spider-Man had to be in the audience, Mesmer asked that he meet with him after the show, offering to share the spotlight with him. Mesmer piqued Peter's interest until a bad review of his performance came out, and Mesmer had the critic attempt to kill himself. Spotty realized what was going on, saved the critic, and confronted Mesmer. Vincent, which is Mesmer's real name, was ready for him with a trap meant to burn down the theater with Spidey and the toughest critic in town within. Of course, Peter was able to escape the trap and turn Mesmer over to the police. So, that's interesting. He fought Spider-Man over a bad film, over a bad theater review.
Spider-Man's fought everybody.
It's true.
All right, back to me then. Okay, here's something. The Danger Room. This is where I'm saying where Xavier does not understand young people at all. The Danger Room has no securities at all. The kids can go in. They can load up any amount of danger they want. They can... What's happening? There's no alarms to show him that people are possibly murdering themselves in the Danger Room. Like, what is going on here? He's in a school full of children, and they can just stroll into a place called the Danger Room.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't get it.
I also find it interesting that none of them are in the control room. They apparently have just, I guess, remotely
preloaded.
Activated it or something, which would make you think that they would also know how to program it, run it, control it. If it is voice recognition, have that programmed into it. So they're very much okay with these kids using this thing.
Yeah, well, it's like he raises child soldiers, and he only wants he's the real Apocalypse. Actually, he just wants the strong ones to survive to be his elite child soldiers. Pretty much.
That's actually probably not bad at all.
Yeah,
it's probably true.
Yeah, it's like that Iceman. He's not gonna make it. That's fine. It's like no. Back to you, Andre.
Yeah, well, I don't want to stick on Mesmero because I have other stuff to talk about. But there's an
Mesmero.
Anyway. There's an issue in X-Men number 111. There's a story where Mesmero brainwashes the X-Men into believing they're part of a circus freak show. When you bring this one up, this seems like a Davin story option.
Why didn't I bring that one up? I don't know if I have. I don't think I have that issue. 111.
Yes.
How does he control that one?
Mind powers.
Yeah, because he normally only controls one at a time. Is the thing.
I have a couple other things I want to bring up in this, but is this my last point?
Maybe. Is it back to me? All right. Yep. So back to me. All right, X points. Was that one thing? It's not really an X point because it's quick. Was that like an Illuminati symbol on the Jack in the Box? There's like a pyramid with like an eyeball. I don't know. It's like an Illuminati box. All right, my last one. I guess is it my last one? Well, I'll just throw a couple at you here quick. What's with the X-copter? Like, they never had an X-copter before, but they should call it the X-copter because if you look at it from the top, the blades would look like an X.
As opposed to
every helicopter's blades would look like an X.
We should call them all X-copters, I feel. And I kind of like that of all the kids there, it was kind of Iceman that took on the leadership role. They were all freaking out and we're gonna die at the hands of the metal tentacles. Iceman's just like, no, we can do this. Let's all work together. They actually said with our powers combined, and I was just gonna be like,
there, Captain Planet.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. All right, so go to your last X point.
I got a few I want to bring up here, but can you let me share my screen here 1 sec?
While you're doing that, can I just ask a X question, I guess?
You can
absolutely
X away.
So what was the point of the Jack in the Box then?
Creepiness.
It must have been, right? Because he controls them with his mind. He's just that dedicated that he's like, I'm going to make one. First of all, I'm going to create this Jack in the Box. And then I'm going to give it to you. And it's not going to be part of what gives you the bad dreams. It's not going to be part of what, because I'm clearly controlling you remotely. So what was the point of the box?
Maybe that's how he was able to control her so remotely.
Creepiness. Because of the plot. The plot couldn't happen if it... They want it to
I
be
don't know.
creepy, so they want Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I feel like that's it. That's got to be it, just to give the episode a little more flavor, I guess. But
God damn it, we're
And the visual connection to that earlier carnival that we didn't really see.
yeah, because if they didn't have the Jack in the Box, Rogue wouldn't have been able to recognize him on the screen.
Yeah,
I guess.
I think that's the reason. All right, what you got for us, Andre?
I just messed it up. 1 sec.
Oh,
will you calm the hell down? Jesus, titty fucking Christ. All right.
Well, I'll throw in another exploit then. X-Men and horror always work well together, I find. I feel like you could do an X-Men horror TV show or something. Like they did the New Mutants movie that was kind of horror. But like a lot of X-Men episodes and stories end up kind of scary. Yeah, it works.
Can I say that one of my favorite X-Men novels, I believe it was called Soul Killer, was the X-Men teaming up with Dracula to fight a demon. And it was, like I said, it was my favorite novel that featured the X-Men. And, I picked up the book on like a discount shelf at a used bookstore because it was like $2 and the cover was just ridiculous to me to see all of these characters on it. But it worked so well together because you can have the supernatural with the mutant powers and it blends so nicely. This
was just a text novel?
Yeah, like novel. Yeah.
Novel, yeah.
Two things I'd like to bring up as my final point here is that don't share my screen yet, but share in a second. Is that this was the first episode of the year 2002. So what were you doing in 2002, Dad?
Graduating school.
Oh, you're an old bastard. All right. What are you, Sandro?
Probably starting university.
Jesus. I was in grade 11, a young spring chicken compared to you two.
Have fun in drama class, Andre.
I wish I was in drama class. Anyway,
I was in drama.
The second thing, we didn't have one in my school. We did, but it wasn't very good. Share my...
None of my classes very good.
Share my screen if you don't mind.
I can do that there, Mayette Moreau.
Two other things. This is the first appearance of Mesmero and also of O'Malley, the cat. We see him many times. He's the cat that's in the alley that gets scared, runs away. He shows up several times in the show. So this character, who we see in the music store, shows up a bit. She's the one shopping for CDs in the store.
She looks like Joey Lauren Adams from
she
like
does.
Empire Records or something.
Or Chasing Amy. Isn't that the same lady?
Yes.
Yeah. So she appears in season 2 in this episode, season 3 in Shadow Dance, and season 2 and season 3. What do you think this character's name is?
It's on the top of the window.
It is Ellen DeGen. Her name is Ellen DeGen, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah,
that's what
she's
supposed to be. Ellen DeGeneres.
Well, that's
exactly what they were going for.
Yeah, the hair and everything. Yeah. So Ellen DeGen.
Yeah, back when she had her sitcom or whatever.
Late 90s, early 2000s. Probably before she came out. But yeah. So there you go, Ellen DeGen.
Ellen DeGen.
First appearance.
She's gonna start her own X team, Ellen DeGeneration X.
Also, like, this is yet another episode that has Spike in it where he says nothing, not a single word. Oh, the one X.
Yeah, they've kind of shuffled him off to the side a little bit.
The one next point I did want to bring up, which was interesting to me, the most interesting part of this episode, is that when the X-Men, the teenagers, are mind controlled, they're using their powers to their full ability in battle, and it's actually pretty cool. You don't see it normally because they're being teenagers and goofy and falling over themselves. But when they're like actually focused, like when Spike was making all these big spikes come out of his back and throwing them all, like that was cool. Like in Nightcrawler, like with a serious face using the powers, it was neat. It was like a serious side of them and showing what they actually could achieve if they knew what they were doing.
And Rogue does more cool power stuff like they often do in this series.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely love how they take advantage of Rogue's powers. They really like working that.
They get all up in there.
It's like they're fail safe all the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Rogue
She's kind of the
MacGuffin power. Yeah.
All right, let's move
Rogue
on.
power.
Hey, check it.
All right, this is our comic reminiscences and recommendations segment. So, with my powers combined, I'm gonna recommend Captain Planet #1.
Oh, the new series?
Yeah, Dynamite Comics.
Who's writing
I
it?
got the chrome, the gloss, the glossy cover.
The gloss.
Who's writing this series? Hold on one second. I'll tell you. This cover is by was it Mark Spears?
Joey Jojo?
Mark Spears. No, it's the same person. Remember I was showing you that free comic book day thing with all the monsters and scary clowns in it?
Yes.
It's all like painted. Same guy does
No.
this cover.
So what's the hook? What makes it different than the show? I'm assuming it's a much more serious take.
Writer is David Papose.
Ah, good old David Papose.
Artist Iman Casalos. And yeah, Mark Spears is the main cover. So the reason I'm recommending this is because I freaking love Captain Planet. It was a very formative thing for me. I kind of like think my life would have turned out a lot differently, likely if I hadn't had Captain Planet as a kid, because I was a very young environmentalist, and that's never changed. I'm a sustainable landscaper now, probably like the only one around here. Look, if I could have a voice audition for anything ever, it would be for Captain Planet. Not necessarily Captain Planet himself, though that would be cool. Without your powers combined, I don't know. I figured it out. But just anybody, just not one of the stupid like polluting villains. I don't want to be one of those.
You said anybody.
Your audio kicked out.
Your audio kicked out again. Your audio
I'm
kicked
back.
out.
So, Captain Planet, man, I just always wanted to be one of the Planeteers. Give me any ring. Like, Earth, sure, that's probably the one I'd want the most. I don't really want fire. I don't want to go around burning people or setting trees on fire. But, water would be a good one. Wind, that'd be handy just to make the wind go away here in Eastern Passage. Freaking windy out here. Yeah, and heart, who wouldn't want that? He talks to animals and stuff with the heart ring. So this comic, I was expecting something entirely different, and look, they made Captain Planet look more like me. You never used to have that, yeah. So, that's the ego part. But look at that. Anyway, so I was just excited. When I didn't know this was coming, I just saw it pop up on my feed that Giant Robot had gotten this issue in. I was like, oh crap, give me that. And I wasn't expecting the old characters from the show, really, because there's this updated look at Captain Planet, and I figured they just want to try something new. But it's Kwame and Wheeler and Linka.
Wheeler from Degrassi? Wheels?
No, not Wheels. Wheeler, the guy who had the fire ring in the original cartoon.
So the guy with the heart ring talks to Snake?
Yeah, he talks. He talks to people. Where is he?
So what's the hook? Is it just a very serious take on it?
So here's the thing. It is a little more serious and a little.
Of course it is. Look at the cover. He looks like he's about to murder somebody. He looks like Don Cheadle in that Funny or Die sketch.
Especially Mati. There he is here controlling some animals, and he's threatening this guy with a snake and a jaguar, and he's It's funny how they have a reason for the ring going to each one. He's Kwame's steadfast and unmovable, so he gets earth, and Wheeler's got a fiery heart for justice, so he gets the fire ring, and it's all this stuff like that. But Mati, he got the heart ring because he understands kind of redemption and the change that can happen in humans' hearts. Because the reason he uses the heart ring all the time in the show and stuff is just usually to try to change a bad guy's heart to think of the environment and things like that, right? So he was a criminal apparently,
so
a bad guy, and he literally the day before he gets this heart ring, he says he's just yeah, I sucked, I was not a good person a day ago, but I've changed, and now I have the heart ring, and I'm a Planeteer. So it's gonna go crazy, and it starts off with Captain Planet being I haven't lost a fight since the Cretaceous, and then he immediately gets blown out of the sky. So it's there's things going on here, but I do have a bit of a complaint as well. And do you mind if I have a moment alone with Dynamite Comics there, fellas?
Sure, you're in.
All right, sure. Look, Dynamite Comics. So I love the cover. I'm glad Captain Planet's back. But in Canada, I paid $14 for this issue, and it's Very thin. So I was just wondering, is issue 2 and 3 like coming in the mail for me or something? I didn't remember giving anybody an address for you to send it. But if that's how it works, I'd really appreciate it. Get back to me, Dynamite. So yeah. Sorry,
Why?
guys. Sorry, fellas.
Did you kickstart it?
No, that's just what the issue cost.
Jesus.
Comics are freaking expensive, man. That's why I buy very few these days.
Does it tickle your balls when you read it or something? Like, that's insane.
Hold on.
No.
Damn it. No.
That's insanity.
And like nothing really happens. You see Captain Planet for a minute and Gaia, and then the introduction of each of the Planeteers, which is like 2 pages for each character, and then it's over.
Did you ever watch the Don Cheadle thing from Funny or Die where he plays Captain Planet? They made like three mini episodes. It just seems like that's what they're doing.
He's not that bad. He's basically like the Captain Planet we knew from the cartoon with like 5% of Don Cheadle in there.
5% Don Cheadle.
Yeah, maybe 5% of that Don Cheadle. But at the same time, even though I had those issues that I just had to talk about Dynamite Comics with, I'm still all in. Nothing happens, and I'm still all in. I like the way they introduce these characters. It's just not really a change, but like a slight. They just add more adult aspects to their characters. Is all. Like they're not these kids really. They all like have jobs and stuff. So I would say they're in their 20s.
They have jobs,
something like that. But and like Kwame's already had like a big soccer career, and he's like injured and retired now or something. So like they're all a little bit older. There's Wheeler. He just saved somebody from like a burning building and stuff. Yeah. So I'm all in anyway, despite my complaints. The art.
Well, I hope issue 2 is it because it has a crazy cover or something? Like, why? That's insane.
Well, yeah, I think I probably paid more for the shiny cover, which I'm fine with. That was a choice, but it's just it's quite thin, fellas. Like usually a number 1, you get a few extra pages, not a few less. And I commented on that giant robot, and Katie was just like, "Yeah, I find that's often the case with Dynamite Comics. Just all ads, and they're quite thin." I was like, "Oh, okay,
that sucks."
They get all the sweet licenses like Captain Planet, but. No,
I don't know if I call Captain Planet a sweet license. I mean, I'm glad it's back. I don't think it's like a hero. I don't think it's like a highly sought after property. I don't think people are like, man, what are we going to do with that sweet Captain?
He's the hero we need.
I agree.
He's the hero we need for our time.
But I don't think
right now it's just me and like David Suzuki and like a few other people out there fighting the fight, man.
I got 4 cats. I'm fighting the fight right here in my house.
Hey, I grew up on the Smoggies. Don't just say it was Captain Planet.
Yeah, man. Smoggies, baby. Don't forget about the Smoggies.
I also grew up on the Smoggies. That's fair.
I was watching the Mystic Knights of Tirnanog. I know what's going on.
What? You made that up?
No, that was a real show.
Okay.
It was basically Power Rangers in medieval times. Rangers. Yeah, Irish Power Rangers in medieval times.
Yeah.
It lasted for like 1 season, I think.
That's pretty funny. So yeah, Captain Planet. Give it a couple issues, people. Like
it'll be worth it when this version starts murdering polluters and saying crazy puns like "time to take out the trash."
Yeah,
it'll justify the price. Just wait.
Yeah,
it had one season. The Missing Knights of Tirnanog had 1 season of 50 episodes. 50 episodes was 1 season.
Wow, that used to be like that back in the day. All right, Andre, what do you got for us, comic style?
Well, I was at my local bookstore, and they got in a bunch of new books, and I thought, this is pretty cool. I've always wanted to have this. I have a version of it, but not the whole thing. They have these new DC compact adventure books. They have the smaller ones that are like only $15. They give you like, 25 issues or something in them, these things. So, they have the Darwin Cook's Catwoman run, which is really cool. So it's got
Darwin Cook. There you go.
It's got the miniseries he did, the Selena's Big Score, which I believe I may have a hardcover version of, but I don't have the whole subsequent story that went through the Catwoman comic with Slam Bradley and all that. So this has all of it, and it's like $15. This cost about the same as that one comic, Devin, that you bought. Is all of this sweet Darwin Cook, Ed Brubaker Catwoman intrigue. So Yeah,
Yeah, I said I was bought. I'm like, what am I doing? And Katie's just like, it happens.
Yeah, it does happen.
Sometimes you got to spend a lot on a comic book.
Yeah, well, I've certainly spent way more on dumber stuff, so won't worry too much about it.
True enough. What about you, Sandro? You get a comic recommendation for the people?
I haven't bought anything new in a little while, so I just picked out one from my collection that I thought was cool, and that's the only reason. And
that's the good reason.
Crossover between X-Men and Wildcats.
Oh, Wildcats and X-Men! I forgot that existed.
Oh,
so
wow.
they did a run where they covered the Silver Age, Gold Age. I picked out this one, Modern Age, because I think it's the best story. It's the Daemonites are working with the Hellfire Club to get people of stature in order to be possessed, and there's just some cool crossover fights between the different characters and things like that. I did also bring something that wasn't a comic book. I didn't know if that would be kosher.
God,
as I mentioned, I have a very large number of, very large, about a dozen actual X-Men novels. So this one here is called Dark Mirror. It's kind of hard to see with the glare.
No, it's good.
But this is actually probably what I'd say my second favorite one was behind the Soul Killer. But I thought it was kind of thematically appropriate.
Do you have these two? These are the only two.
I actually have those in a hardcover trilogy of the 3 Empire books.
Devin, you have the one I gave you for Christmas.
Can you give me number 3 for this Christmas?
No, you have the other X-Men book I gave you. Unless you got rid of it, you monster.
So anyway,
show Sandro. He needs to see it. Sorry, Sandro. Keep going.
That's okay.
Yep. Keep going. It's okay.
So with this book, it's actually very interesting because it's a kind of like a whodunit. Jean wakes up in like a mental institute in somebody else's body, stripped of her powers.
Oh,
and
interesting.
The whole book is her investigating, eventually finding that some of the other inmates are other members of the team that have been put into other bodies, and them having to come down to, I mean, I can't say too much because the story revolves around the intrigue and the mystery of it, but it is a very, very interesting read. And I thought, okay, well, in this, Jean's being controlled in Mindbender, and this one, Jean's controlling somebody else, not willingly, but stuck in somebody else's body. So
this sounds like the work of our old friend Mesmero. He has something to do with this.
So that one's called Dark Mirror. If it didn't come through,
that's the book I gave Devin.
I know that book. I do not have it.
My 2 wheelhouses thrown into a single novel.
I know. Have you read it yet?
No. Who's got time to read? I've been trying to read this one Storm comic book for like forever, just to find time to read it. So that'll probably be my recommendation.
You read a $14 Captain Planet comic?
Yeah, because it was thin, and I knew it would take me 3 seconds to read, and it did.
It's a very good point.
Might have taken longer to read some of those free comic book day books.
The Storm book is an anthology. I'm gonna actually have to sit down and digest that. So, yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to the next wonderful segment of our show.
But I like movies, which is fine.
It's fine and dandy like sour candy. Please be kind and rewind.
Well, I'm going to suggest a movie I watched last night. 2 movies. Movie I watched last night, the movie thing I host, David Cronenberg's body horror classic, The Fly. Fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it, I believe it's Jeff Goldblum's greatest cinematic performance.
I agree.
It is an excellent, excellent film. And I didn't realize how touching that movie is until I watched it again. It's actually very good. I actually teared up at one point. It was very good. But the other movie I'm going to suggest, because I've been working on an art print for a friend. I don't want to go into too many details in case they or she is listening. But it made me think about this, which is an excellent movie. A lot of people may not remember, but it's well worth watching. The Rocketeer.
The Rocketeer. The Rocketeer makes a comeback in the zeitgeist of like society every 25 years or so.
There's like a kids TV show on Disney Plus, but the original movie, directed by Joe Johnston, who went on to direct Captain America: The First Avenger.
Good movie.
It's an excellent movie. It's a really fun, and I mean the Rocketeer comics are awesome too for the Dave Stevens comics, like excellent. But
bring brings back really bad memories of the Super Nintendo game I had for the Rocketeer.
Yeah, that game
Horrible.
sucked.
I hated it.
Yeah.
And I hated
Most of the movie adaptation games did suck.
I played the Who Framed Roger Rabbit game for the NES a lot, and I'm curious if I liked it at the time. I'm sure it probably sucks to go back.
All but like 5 or 6 NES games suck. Like most of those never didn't hold up. There's Mario 3, Contra, maybe a couple other good ones.
What about the video game? Was a video game adaptation of Mario, or the video game of the Mario movie, or the one that or the one that was a video game adaptation of the Street Fighter live action movie?
Oh no, that one was real bad. And then there was the movie adaptation of Mortal Kombat, but it was just Sub-Zero. It was called like
Sub-Zero's
Revenge or something like that. I don't know. Or the Tale of Sub-Zero or something.
It was like
The Tale of
Mortal
Sub-Zero.
Kombat anthologies or something.
Yes,
Mortal Kombat
yeah.
anthologies Sub-Zero or something. Like
Yeah, something like that. And you just like he just walked around. It was like a side.
Man, I can't imagine this new Mortal Kombat movie is going to improve on the old one much at all. That one's the new one that just came out. I hated that new one so bad.
It was no. I don't think so.
Yo.
That was a great movie.
Your brother's soul is mine. That's my favorite. He has that episode. He's like, Lou! Yeah.
Oh man, he played Shang Tsung so well.
He was the
That
best.
was a legendary.
All those souls, sorcerer, and not one of your own. It's a good. The original is actually a really good movie. I think.
I like it.
This is the part where you fall down.
The sequel, on the other hand, is not.
I actually should rewatch that movie because I remember that I did like it, even though I knew I shouldn't. But I liked it for the wrong reasons. The girl that played Melina was like the worst actress in the history of time.
Oh no, the
not Melina,
woman who plays Sindel might have
Sindel.
been
That's it.
well.
That's it.
Yeah,
The woman that was
she was
Sindel.
bad. She was bad.
atrocious. We had X-Files star, the guy that played the shape-shifting alien assassin dude, as Shao Kahn. That was great.
But they lost all the good cast members. I mean, they had James Remar replace Christopher Lambert, and
Yep.
and like
why was Raiden? Why was Raiden French?
Liu Kang was different. Because he's like lightning Highlander, whatever.
He's a lightning god. That's obviously a Chinese one. Who is deeply, or Japanese one, who is deeply like his whole design was based on the three storms from Big Trouble in Little China. And they even had electrical powers with the big helmets and everything. It was very obviously taken from that.
I love the way that movie starts off though, when they're all just getting on that boat, and Johnny Cage just tries to get Liu Kang to carry his bags, and he's just like, "Oh, you want to give me money to carry your bags?" He's just like, "Yeah, obviously." He's just like, "I got it." He takes his money and throws
it right over the water. What happened to Robin Chow, the guy that played Liu Kang? He was
he's like a stunt coordinator guy. He was
the best part of that movie.
Yeah, he just does like stunt stuff.
Also, one of the best parts of Beverly Hills Ninja.
Like coordinating and that kind of stuff, I think. But yeah, he was great in that. I thought he'd become a movie star after that.
He was in Beverly Hills Ninja shortly after. And then not much else. A bunch of Japanese movies. He's in the Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li movie from 2009. The one with Kristen Kruick in it.
I haven't seen
watched.
Neil McDonough.
Yeah, I never watched it either. Yeah, he was on Bison in it, wasn't he?
Yeah, I never saw it.
Was that Ming Na Wen? No, she was Chun-Li in the first.
Michael Clark Duncan was Balrog. What a wild movie. What an age. What a world we live in.
Gonna keep
Balrog was supposed to be
list.
M. Bison's. No, M. Bison was supposed to be called Vega. And Balrog, or Vega was supposed to be called
Vega
Balrog.
was like the villain, wasn't he? The main villain of it? He certainly was the one that seems to be in all the marketing.
And Balrog was supposed to be M. Bison because he was supposed to be Mike Bison based on Mike Tyson. And then they couldn't get the rights from Mike
Oh,
Tyson.
you're talking about originally when they made the game.
Yeah.
Yes, I did know this, yes.
Yeah. But so yeah, you just get this boxer named Balrog.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Gandalf to battle him, and thou shalt not pass.
Well, there you have it. I saw Alien Romulus last night.
Oh, what do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, I did watch Finally Thunderbolts.
Great, isn't it?
I loved it. That was great. Very different take. I liked it. I'm like that. It didn't just seem like a Suicide Squad knockoff, which I was hoping it wouldn't be.
It was sad, man. It was about modern themes too, of like loneliness and depression.
Yeah, mostly about depression. Someone's like, it's just about trauma again. I'm like, no, it's actually really more about depression, which is more interesting to me. I thought it was really well done. I liked the setup. I liked what they did with it. I like what we get at the end of it. I liked
fight scenes were good. Better than Cat 4.
I mean, I do think it's kind of funny the Taskmaster's all over the marketing for that show, but yeah, but I liked the characters. I liked how they worked together. I liked, I wrote a nice review about it on my letterbox, but yeah, I really dug it. That was really, really good.
Did you see that, Sandro?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Oh, I won't review it.
Very much anticipating it though.
The villain is cool. How they like. I just want to see one Marvel movie where the villains just fight another smaller group of villains, and that's it. It's not an army. It's not a like I thought maybe I'd get it with because I know the Serpent Society was supposed to be more in the Captain America movie than they were. Because like I know Seth Rollins from WWE was not Sidewinder. Yeah, it was Giancarlo Esposito, but the other one he was supposed to be Copperhead or one of the other
King Cobra, wasn't he?
King Cobra maybe. So, yeah, I just want to see them fight the Brotherhood of Evil or something like the Avengers. Like, just give me that. Like, I don't want to see massive armies, just one-on-one fight with another supervillain team. They have yet to do that in a movie. It's always a giant monster or armies of monsters with one big guy running it.
Oftentimes.
Yeah.
I guess the closest we got was maybe like Civil War, where they were just
fighting each other.
Smaller groups of each other.
That I want to see that, but with villains, please. That's all I want from a Marvel movie. And then we're just gonna Doctor Doom is just gonna be our Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom with an army of Doombots probably, and this is gonna be that again, which is fine, I'm sure. But I want to see like a fun superhero fight between a team of villains and team heroes.
Yeah, it'd be good.
But I do think Bill Pullman was excellent in it, or not Bill Pullman, that's his dad, Lewis Pullman. They look so much alike. They look so much alike. It's crazy how much.
I know it's like the same face.
But all the stuff of the Sentry is really cool. It's great. I thought it was really, really good. I was really happy with it. I thought the way they handled the Void was really interesting and unique and creepy and different. I really dug it. I thought it was really cool.
Me too. And Yelena's always awesome. Florence Pugh is a star, man. She's awesome.
I think they all Ghost obviously get the least amount of her backstory. What
she was good too, though.
She was really good in it. But I really I think is a standout in this movie. That's someone I've always really
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell's so good in this movie. He's fantastic.
Man. He's the funniest. I think it's Red Guardian, but it's actually him.
I want to see more. I want to see more John Walker for sure. I really dig that character, like a modern asshole Captain America that does right but doesn't like doing it. Is like a really interesting character to me, and I'd like to see more of that.
That's the Captain America we need.
Well, I just and I love how he obviously he's like what we would have if we have a Captain America, one with warts and all that people shit on, and it's like on Instagram memes are made out of and stuff that would just piss him off. I just thought it was really good. I dug it a lot. I thought he was really good in it, like kind of a selfish dink and a really interesting, but works well in this sort of team dynamic.
Yeah, there was heart in this movie. It
was a lot of heart in this movie. It's really more about depression and about found family and about finding a purpose, finding
Misfits.
a purpose. Yeah, finding a purpose together, which is always kind of touching.
You need to find purpose when you're all out of faith.
Oh, yeah. And that yeah, for sure. Nice.
Or else you'll end up torn. And you don't want
That's
to be
right.
like
yeah,
that.
you don't want to be torn.
Can't believe I'm feeding that.
That's so good. And I laugh.
We're gonna end the episode with a sing along.
I know this won't mean anything to you, Sandro, but it will when you watch it eventually when you see it. But the scene with the chicken made me laugh so loud and so hard. Yeah, when he was like, I was on meth. I just thought it was so good. So good.
And there's one scene that, as a father, it made me cry. So
yeah, that whole bit near the end there.
Very sad.
Was touching. I teared up a little bit. The Fly though also made me tear up. So maybe I'm getting a little sadder in my old age at movies. I don't know, or a little more emotional. But it's really good.
He's the coolest teacher we got around here, and the nicest. Wait, you're
forgetting your homework.
What's
I
the
am the
homework,
coolest
André?
teacher and the nicest, just so you know. Is to watch episode 13 of season 2 of X-Men Evolution, Shadow Dance,
Shadow Dance.
starring, I
It's a
believe,
marvelous
Shadowcat.
night for a shadow dance. There, I'm changing the song thing.
Do you want to hear a
Totally
funny
different.
story about Moondance? If you have a second to tell it.
Oh,
So-
go ahead. Tell us
So
about
when
it.
I went on my trip to Ireland, we did a day trip where we went to, it was a Game of Thrones trip where they take you all these spots where they film Game of Thrones episodes. I don't care about Game of Thrones that much, but a lot of the episodes, the places they filmed were big tourist things we wanted to go to. And it was actually cheaper to just go
Castles
on
and
this
shit.
thing and see all of that stuff, the giant steps and all that, because it was on the tour. Thankfully, we didn't spring for a more expensive tour because I watched another bus pull up with people getting out, and then the tour guide, walked around and then opened the back of the bus and took out suits of armor for them all to wear, so they could all dress up as knights and stand around and get their photo taken. I was happy just to be able to look around. The guy would come up, the tour guide, would be like, "Do you want a picture with this photo of the scene in front of the place they filmed?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine. This is fine." But anyway, the tour guide was a singer. He's an Irishman. He's in a band, and he told a lot of stories on some of the long trips about music and stuff. And he was talking, he's like, a good friend of mine is an amazing piano player. He plays all over the world. And one day he found himself playing at a bar in Las Vegas. He was playing at a piano bar, and he's also a massive fan of Van Morrison. So one day he's playing at the piano bar, and who should walk in the door but Van Morrison with his bodyguard. They sit in the corner. My friend, playing the piano, starts playing piano versions of Van Morrison songs. And he's doing this for a little while, and then the guard comes over with a crisp $100 bill in his hand. And he sees him coming, and he says, "Oh, Mr. Morrison must enjoy my playing so much. He's going to
Please
give me
stop.
$100. What a lovely gesture." And then the security guard comes up, puts the $100 in his security guard puts $100 in his bowl and says, "Here's $100. Mr. Morrison would like you to stop."
He's one of those guys I like notoriously hates his songs.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to play them every day.
Yeah.
You probably played the same songs for 300 days of a 365-day year on tour. You're probably pretty annoyed with them too.
This reminds me of the scene from Cool Runnings when the one guy's singing in the street and he gets $1 to shut up.
All right. I haven't seen Cool Running show up on the show before, I don't think.
we covered it on Hold Up, a movie.
I know you did. I remember that episode.
I believe the follow-up to that joke too is they ask him how much he made in this singing in the streets, and he says $1.16.
Solid. That's really funny.
All right. Well, you can support the show at patreon.com/X-Men Review Show. Get your merch over at redbubble.com/people/X-Men Review Show/shop. A lot of sounds in that. Contact us at xmenreviewshow@gmail.com or hit me up on Facebook. Find our audio-only version wherever you get your podcast. Please like, review, subscribe. Like us over on the YouTubes. Let's get the numbers up on the YouTube. That'd be good. And follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, of course. The Twitches. And check out our whole family of podcasts over at ufpodcast.com. You want to tell us about your podcast, Sandro?
Yeah, I'll do it real quick, I guess. You like video games, go to youtube.com/pixelopinions. We post reviews from time to time, not on a regular schedule. Bargain Bin is back, as was referenced earlier. We are back from our hiatus, doing episodes every Monday of movie reviews, youtube.com/@BSBargainBin. And of course, I've been doing wrestling interviews recently, which features an episode with André. That's at youtube.com/@IWProfiles.
How's Ben doing? I haven't seen him in forever.
He's doing great.
But he's working Taz? I never see him there.
So the reason that we were on hiatus, and I can't say too much about it, is because he got a job working as a part of the production team of a TV show.
Oh, fun.
So
is it a show you're familiar with and possibly on?
I don't know.
Can you say what show?
Yeah, it was.
Is it from?
No.
The Institute?
I think I can say it now. I don't know if I am allowed to say it. Maybe I can just say the name, but it was a TV show version of the books We Were Liars.
Oh yeah. They've been filming a lot.
They've been filming that.
So we were on hiatus because he was working like 20-hour days doing that. And then they wrapped season 1 and we got back to recording episodes.
Cool. That's awesome.
Very good.
I actually just got, I had a part in the Institute, the Stephen King thing, which was a background part, but then I got a email that they ADR'd dialogue with my character. So because of that, it's bumped me to an actor role. So I have a much bigger check coming, which is very exciting.
Ooh, very nice.
So,
but it's not even you speaking?
It's through, I think it's through, no, it's not, but I think it's through a walkie-talkie because that's what I had in my hand. So I'm guessing that's what they did. But I don't know if I said too much already, but I don't think so.
Tell us about this then.
The Graphic Histories Podcast.
Yeah, just filmed an episode today, so I'll get that.
Oh, yay!
And it'll be up. Have a new episode up this Sunday. I have another interview booked, I think. I have a bunch for next week. So assuming they all come through, which a few
was up today or
yesterday
yesterday or whatever.
I actually have another one on Thursday as well. Today was Dan Price, who is an indie comic writer who made this really ridiculous but fun book called Bigfoot Knows Karate. So it's he has 3 books out. The Kickstarter for the third part of the original series. This one is like a standalone period piece, but these ones are 1 and 2. Bigfoot in the first episode fights Kung Fu Thulu, which pretty fun. It's a really interesting. Like I talked about, I said this seems like something where you came up with the name first and then worked backwards, and he was like, "Yes, it was." So, but it's really
I get all my ideas.
It's really fun. Really fun. Yeah. So we're going to talk with him, and then I have Doug Wagner next on the show.
Oh, nice.
Recording with him on Thursday. And then Dave got me a bunch of people. There's Dave DeWonk. How do you pronounce that?
Oh, yeah, Dave. I think it's Dwonk or Dwanch.
Dwanch makes sense. Then Peter Sanderson, then Drew.
I feel like it's going to be Dwonk.
Lenhart, and then Renee Nault. So there's a bunch more. It should be good for another month and a half, maybe, assuming all these go through. But I don't have any more after those 5. So,
all right.
Davin's been working overtime to get me excited. I was busy with the play anyway, but then I've also been doing this for 5 years, and sometimes you get so busy it's hard to cram in on getting new interviews. Davin's been helping with that, so thank you, Davin.
No worries. All right, well, let's get out of here, fellas. All right, well, catch X time, everybody.
X time.
Class dismissed. I'm out of here.